All right, the food at Gen Con. I have a lot of notes here. So, every year that we go to Gen Con, I attempt to eat as much of the official food, like well, not as much as, try. I should say try as much. I don't go there and just stuff my face. I try as much of the official, not licensed food, but like the Gen Con pizza, the Gen Con beer, which I did a bad job of it, and I realize that now that this is something I should probably do from the block party every year, and I apologize that I'm not eating it in front of you so that you could see my reaction. I've always done it after the fact because really the block party is kind of crowded and kind of loud, and the editing of the audio is not something that I can actually like block out. That's why I don't do it. So I'm gonna start with Sun King's beer. Sun King's beer was a hit. I'll say it was a hit. It wasn't a home run. It didn't knock it out of the park. But it was a hit in the sense that I believe with the name they gave it, or, well, roll for initiative, and what it's based off of, they nailed it. So it's based kind of off of a cinnamon bun or a sticky bun. And you get, well, this is the order I got it in. This is the way it hit my taste buds. You get this, you get this, like, you can tell it's a beer, right? And then you get the creaminess that rolled over your tongue. Then after that, I get a little bit more of the beer, and then it starts to go into the cinnamon raisiny kind of taste that I got from it, and they really nailed it. I definitely knew that it was a beer based off of a cinnamon roll. Is it a beer that I'll buy a 6-pack of and drink? No. Is it a beer that I'll go and have it sit down with somebody? Yeah, I'll have one at a time, but I won't sit down. Like, it's not like my favorite beers where I'll drink 2 or 3, which are a lot darker. The burger, which was called, I didn't write down the name because I'm an idiot. I'll have to put that in there. Anyway, Goblin Burger of some sort from Harry and Izzy's. Pretty solid. I can tell you, so the very first thing that I tasted was the seasoning. I got a nice hit, and what that did is that set up my palate and my taste buds for the beef, which was definitely Black Angus. Or somehow they get a lot of good smokiness to it, but it was a very lean burger, and I appreciate that. I made some mistakes with this burger because I walked around too long before I got to eat it. So the dill chips were potato chips that were like breaded and fried, or they had something else on top of them. Maybe that's when they make them. But they got soggy because I waited too long, and if they would have had the crisp and the texture, it would have really taken this burger and put it over the top. If I would have gotten to eat it faster. So next year, if they do a burger like that, my advice to you guys would be to eat it faster. So the pizza this year was actually quite a surprise to me. I was really afraid to eat a pizza that is got jalapenos on it, Doritos, and drizzled ranch. I was really afraid. And then I got there. I'm like, okay, begrudgingly, I'm going to taste this. I tasted it. I'll take pepperoni pizza over this pizza any day of the week. But it wasn't a fail. And it wasn't a fail because they didn't use your traditional pizza. They used more of like a breadstick for the pizza. So they had you had your cheese, you had your Parmesan stuff with it, and then you had your jalapenos, and you had your drizzle of ranch topped by nacho Doritos. And the nacho Doritos were actually quite a surprise with the texture and the flavor. They did complement it. I do wish that they weren't just sprinkled on top as a garnish. Because I lost a lot of Doritos, and I think it would have been more enjoyable if it didn't. But what really made the pizza work was the cheese bread style of pizza that it did. If it had tomato sauce, this thing would have been an epic fail. So they did a good job on that. Booz-e Bundts. So they offered 4 different flavors: chocolate bourbon, an amaretto bunt, a Reese's Cup peanut butter bunt, and a white chocolate raspberry. We did a different bunt every day. And with that said, putting alcohol into cakes is not the easiest thing to do. I've done it many times, and they're actually doing it in a condition where it's sitting outside-ish. So, kudos to them. All the cakes tasted good. So the chocolate bourbon, in my opinion, or at least the one that we got, we only bought one, was the driest of the bunch. And with that said, every single one of these cakes was moist. I mean, you give it an alcohol bath. But it was definitely the driest. The alcohol follows the flow of gravity, and it sinks down as it gets absorbed, and your more moist pieces are going to be at the bottom. I didn't really taste the bourbon. I didn't get the bourbon flavor out of this cake at all. The amaretto was quite possibly the best one, and I think it's actually the almonds that put it over the top. As soon as you open up the amaretto bundt cake, you could smell the amaretto. It was moister, but not the moistest of the 4 cakes. The Reese's Cup peanut butter whiskey cake was probably the second best. And I think part of it was just because it had pieces of Reese's Cup broken up in it. We did definitely get the peanut butter whiskey, especially towards the bottom of the cake where the moisture tends to puddle. I guess it's not really puddle, but saturate more. And the chocolate syrupy drizzle was a nice touch, so it gave you a little bit more hints to the peanut butter, actually, when you got that in your mouth. It helped pull out the peanut butter. And the white chocolate raspberry was the moistest of the 4, and you definitely could taste the Chambord in the drizzle. The drizzle actually nailed this cake. Overall, this was the moistest of the cakes, and I'm not sure if that's just because it was fresher or if it was brought that day. We bought this one in the morning instead of in the evening. Maybe that made a difference. And you could definitely taste, like I said, you could taste the raspberry and the Chambord. I don't remember how much we paid for these, so I can't tell you if they're worth the money. They were all good. Were they, what's that chain? Were they that good? Not quite. Everything bunt cake. Whatever they do, they got it down right. Their bunts are really good, and I'm not really a bunt cake fan. I am a pastry fan, but I've never been a fan of bunt cakes. But everything bunt gets them down really well. Booz-e Bundts, I would definitely buy them again. I would maybe like to see some different flavors, maybe some stronger flavoring or better choice in the whiskey and bourbon they use. But that's it. Yeah, I mean, it was solid. I hope they come back next year. And then Lisa and I we walked around and we hit some of the food trucks. I didn't really take notes on food trucks. We were just hungry. But we hit 2. We hit the one taco place, which I think there was more than one taco place, but I would not go back to it. And it's not because the food wasn't good. It was really good, but it was so salty for the standard of my diet that I almost couldn't handle it. I eat relatively low salt compared to most of society. I'm not like no salt or I had problems with my blood pressure earlier, and I just changed my habits quite a bit. Anyway, so I wouldn't eat there again. Then we went to a lobster place that had lobster rolls. Now, I'm going to say that they were lobster sandwiches. They weren't lobster rolls. They had a good amount of lobster on them, but to me, a lobster roll is actually a roll. It's all rolled up. It's tucked in nice and neat. The gooiness and the lobster are all part of the bread. This was not that way. This was more like a hot dog bun. But the best... Oh, I totally skipped Rathskellers, but I'll come back to Rathskellers. The best thing of the show that we ate was probably the hush puppies from that food truck. Those hush puppies were over the top. We bought some, and we turned around and went back and got another batch, and the next day we came back and got 2 more batches. That's how much we liked them. Hush puppies were probably the best thing of the show. And I think they were there last year. I seem to remember their truck. We'll get hush puppies again next year, probably every day. And so on Thursday night, we ate at Rathskellers. This is the second time we've eaten at Rathskellers in, I don't know, 10 years. I'm going to say the service wasn't as good this last time as it was the first time. And maybe it's because we were sitting in the bar area and some things were going on. But the food came out fast, man. The food came out fast. So we ordered mushrooms, which I thought I was going to get fried mushrooms, and they were not fried. And I'll come back to that in a second. And we ordered the sauerkraut balls. So the mushrooms, they were basically stem out, filled with the filling, gooey, cheesy. It wasn't really a cheese, but I'll call it a dressing, and whatever else they put in it. And then cheese melted on top. So what I don't know about these mushrooms is if they were supposed to be cooked all the way through. These were raw, but you know what? I liked it. Nothing wrong with raw mushrooms. Now, the sauerkraut balls, not at all what I expected. I expected sauerkraut balls like I get down the street or like I buy out of a freezer bag, which is basically sauerkraut balls. They're fried balls of sauerkraut. These had some sauerkraut in them, but they were more like fried bratwurst balls or ground sausage balls, and they were delicious. From there, well, the salad came out. We had salad. It's just a normal salad. They serve whole grain rolls. Those are pretty good in their pretzels. Man, their mustard, it's over the top with heat. For the bread that they serve. And then Lisa ordered she ordered pork chops, which were marinated and smoked. And it was like ham. They were absolutely delicious. She also had, I don't remember what vegetables she got, but she got German potato pancakes, as did I. And I got their signature schnitzel, which was really good. I had schnitzel last time. I don't remember which one I had the last time. I think I actually ordered the same one. I thought I got a different one last time. But they both had brown gravy. Oh wait, that's normal for most schnitzels, a brown gravy. So they're potato pancakes. They are truly much more like a pancake than a potato cake. I've never found a potato pancake in a restaurant or a store that I like more than mine. But they were good, and it's the second time I ordered them, so that should tell you that I like them. Anyway, guys, that is my thoughts on the food from Gen Con. Next year, I will do food from the table. I'm sorry. Bye, guys.